But we begin here. Members of the Public Servants Association downing tools today. They want a wage increase of 6.5% and believe that government's 3% offer is an insult to employees. The PSA is threatening to intensify its protest action should government fail to meet its demands shortly. My colleague, fellow eNCA and reporter here at eNCA, Heidi Chokos, has been following the story. She's back with us in studio now. Heidi, good afternoon. Welcome to today. Yes, it was a one-day kind of stay away organized by PSA, one of the public sector trade unions, but they are threatening to intensify their action.
Yes, they are certainly threatening to intensify their action, and this is if government does not respond within 7 days. They have given government 7 days to respond to their demands. Top of the list is the fact that they want a 6.5% increase. And this after they had initially asked for 10%, but they decided to drop it to 6.5 after government said that they do not have the means to increase salaries.
And government has only given them 3%.
Yes, and our government has come and said we can only give you 3%. So the Public Service Association marched today to National Treasury, and they have, of course, indicated that they will intensify should their demands not be met. Now, the PSA is threatening to go on a massive nationwide shutdown should their demands not be met in 7 days. It's going to be interesting to see whether or not they'll be able to pull the numbers and whether or not government has any space
especially because the other public sector unions like Nehau, Dinosa, Hospesa and PopCrew are aligned to COSATU. They were not taking part in today's action, or they are not really on strike yet. And they represent about 600,000 government employees.
Yes, certainly. And we actually asked the question to the PSA president to say, would you not want COSATU to come in to bolster your protest action and intensify your message to government to say we are quite serious because we have the numbers. But the PSA is saying that they are not going to speak on behalf of COSATU, and that they have indicated they would enjoy the support of COSATU, but they believe they have the necessary numbers and enough numbers to bring in to have.
I'll be talking to COSATU Sizwe Pamela sometime this. I will try and get a sense from COSATU what do they think about what will be the way forward. But PSA says government will give you 7 days or else.
Yes, 7 days or else they'll go on a nationwide strike. And I think what's interesting here is that today they indicated that there might be disruptions at services such as licensed departments, home affairs, but it seems as though that has not really happened. And there might have been some disruptions or a bit of a delay here and there, but not as intense as we had expected and as the PSA had indicated. But they are saying come 7 days, if they cannot negotiate and have a discussion with government about that 3% versus the 6.5% that they want, then we might see services disrupted. Hopefully this is not going to impact essential services like healthcare, correctional services, but also, Bradan, teaching, because at the end of the day, matrics are still writing. We've already seen some kind of disruption because of protest action last week with the Basic Education Department coming out and saying that...
Yeah, I mean, we must remember that public service workers, it covers a myriad of activities, including education.
Yes, and right now we cannot afford to have matrics sitting outside of schools because of these disruptions. So hopefully there can be some kind of negotiation and they can come to some kind of...
Yeah, but you were up and about and talking to various people, as you said. What is the sentiment you picked up?
Yes, so workers are really frustrated, and I think it's crucial to go back to the workers and their realities every day, how they struggle, what their needs are versus their salaries. And the biggest issue is they feel as though they have not received a salary increase for the past 3 years. They've been promised this by government. COVID-19 pandemic hits, and still they have not received any salary increase. And they've spoken about how many have been blacklisted, how many are unable to pay their bonds for their houses, and this becomes increasingly difficult when government is saying we cannot increase any further. We spoke to some workers. Let's listen to what they told us.
We demand a single-term wage agreement, as we know that the employer, every time we sign a multi-term, they don't honor the promise. So we demand 10% across the board because, our members are hit hard by the hike of fuel, prices of food are going up, inflation is very high. Hence, we demand 10% across the board. 3% is an insult to public servants who are working very hard, who have not received any decent increase over the last 3 years. So we are not demanding much.
The government employers hasn't given us an increase for past 3 years now. We started in 2019, 2020, they promised us the charges increment, which we never received. Now we are asking, we are now from 2020 up to 2021 asking, and it came to 21 now, they're giving us a 3% increase, which is nothing to us, which is not even inflation rate there. They can't give us, they even give us a non-pensionable, which is not even cover the pension already there. 3% and 1.5% they're giving us, but it's not benefiting to everybody. 3% is too little.
Our employee is just playing with us. I mean, we are working, we are public servants, but we cannot buy houses, we cannot afford houses, and everything has gone up. What can we do with 3%? They must not play with us. The worst part, they are giving themselves. I mean, our government, they are giving huge sums of money to themselves. Are they saying we deserve 3% of all the work that we are doing? Please, they must just make their mind. We need 10%. That's it for our living.
It's been a long time that we have never had an increase. Now is the time that we show the government that we are really serious. Because even if they can implement whatever they want to implement, that does not affect us. We want our monies like yesterday. We have never had an increase. They expect us to be at work on a daily basis, but they are giving us slavery salary. That is not acceptable. You cannot give as public servant 3%, give 3% of the executive. You must balance the wage level, because if you want to close the poverty lines, you must ensure that you are closing those who are earning higher. They must get less increase, and those who are earning less must get a higher increase.
Now, Heidi, as we conclude, the PSA has embarked after serving the strike notice to government on lunchtime pickets or tea time pickets, for the last few days. Will they continue with that, or are they going to wait? What was your sense you got? Are they going to wait for this 7-day period now that they've given to government for a response?
I think they're giving government an opportunity to respond within 7 days, and then they will intensify. This is the response that we got from the Public Service Association president, who indicated that they will intensify their action and continue only after 7 days should they not get what they want from government.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what COSATU is going to be doing in the interim as well. As I said, we'll try and we'll be speaking to Sizwe Pamela a little bit later this hour and find out. Thank you very much, Heidi Jokos, and giving us an update, which was up and about and covering what's happening with this one-day stay away by the PSA.